So we have now seen Krishna enter Mathura, and we saw how Krishna went through the streets of Mathura, and there were beautiful incidents how he met with a washerman who refused to part with his possessions and he was destroyed, and how, on the other hand, a florist who gave joyfully whatever he had and he was bestowed the highest boons. And then we also saw how the bow that was kept in the sacrificial hall was broken effortlessly by Krishna, sending fear and terror into the heart of Kamsa. So then we continue. The next morning is the main event that has been organized by Kamsa. And as we may recall, Kamsa has made elaborate plans to kill Krishna. So he has arranged for a elephant called Kuvalaya Pida, and also with someone to goad the elephant to become very angry to attack Krishna and Balaram as they enter the amphitheater. And then inside he has two huge wrestlers called Chanura and Mushtika who are meant to attack Krishna. So with all these plans, the day begins, and it is said Krishna and Balaram, they get up, they clean themselves up, and they go beautifully. It says here, Krishnascha Ramascha Krita Shauchau Parantapa Malladundubir Nirghosham Shrutva Drashtum Upeyuta. So they hear the din of the wrestling game. So how even now we see when there is a huge game, there is a great din created. That is exactly what Shukha Brahman describes here. Mallayuddha Nirghosham. There is all the great noise created by the people in the amphitheater. So Krishna and Balaram reach there. And just as we saw, as they reach the entrance, there is this massive elephant, Kuvalaya Pida. And this elephant is goaded by its mahout to attack Krishna. So as soon as they enter, the elephant attacks them. But effortlessly, as we have already seen in Vrindavan, Krishna has slayed so many huge demons in various forms, whether it be a python, whether it be a crane, whether it be a donkey, and so on. So here also, even though it's a massive elephant, Krishna effortlessly gets away from the approaching elephant, which is raging at him, and then gets around the elephant, climbs behind the elephant, and gets on top and knocks the elephant with his power. So, as we can see, even in the case of Trinavrata, when he came to attack him when he was very little, he was able to increase his weight tremendously without increasing the size. So, in this way, here also it is said that Krishna, with massive power, knocks this elephant Kuvalaya Pida down along with the keepers of the elephant, and this already sends a shock to everyone there. And then, as soon as they enter the amphitheater, there is great joy because they see these two divine looking boys who entered the amphitheater, and everyone is seated there. It is said that Nanda, as we can recall, Nanda has come with all the cowherdmen, the Gopas, and then Vasudeva and Devaki are also there because they are also in the spectators. And in addition to that, all the various city dwelling people of the society are all there, and they've all had a glimpse of Krishna the previous day when he walked through the streets along with Balaram, and they all know that this is some divine being, and they are all very expectant, very happy. There is a great noise created by them, and everyone is looking at them. It is said that all the women who are looking at him are also captivated, enchanted by him. And in fact, they all talk among themselves how lucky are the women of Vrija, women of Vrindavan, who have been able to see him day in and day out. So we saw when in Vrindavan, The women there said the women of Mathura will be lucky. So the other way around, because everyone who comes in contact with Krishna is bestowed this grace, and they only feel that the other devotees are even more filled with grace. So everyone is therefore very happy to see Krishna and glorifying also the Vrindavan women who have been so beautifully associated with Krishna all these years. So in this way, Krishna enters. And as soon as he enters, as we already saw, there is the huge wrestlers Chanura and Mushtika who are now unleashed on Krishna. Again, all the people who are seeing it, they think it's very unfair because normally, as we know even now, these kinds of games are happening within a particular weight range and so on. And Chanura and Mushtika are so huge, and Krishna and Balaram outwardly they look very handsome but not huge like these Chanura and Mushtika. So they all talk among themselves what an unfair thing this king is doing. Already, as we know, everyone is unhappy with Kamsa. There has been a lot of terror unleashed by Kamsa on his own citizens. We have seen how Kamsa has acted in a dharmic way. He has stopped all Vedic yajnas. He has killed many young babies when Krishna was born. He has stopped all kinds of sacrifices, all kinds of pious activities. So, this kind of self consumed, arrogant, megalomaniacal ruling is something that comes every once in a while. We see this even now, and it was there even then in a very intense way. And so Kamsa was doing all this, and therefore everyone in the citizenry were anyway against him. And now, with Chanura being unleashed on Krishna, they were all saying, look, again, this king is so unfair. But then Krishna was absolutely unperturbed. He was just playing with Chanura for a while. It looked like Chanura was overpowering Krishna, and Krishna was letting him have his way so that the citizens are also getting more anxious. So we've seen this even before. For instance, in the case of Kaliya Mardana, initially when Kaliya starts coming out and Krishna goes on top, Krishna lets Kaliya bind him in its coils to the anxiety of all the onlookers of Vrindavan. And then later he overpowers Kaliya to the great joy. So this is also a rasa, the taste of giving a little anxiety and then giving great joy enhances the joy of the onlookers. And this kind of a device is used even today in many stories because that's exactly what enhances the rasa of the onlookers. And all this was so beautifully described by Shuka Brahma. So Chanura first initially apparently overpowers Krishna, and Krishna lets him have his way, but after some time, when Chanura thinks he's got his way, Krishna suddenly reveals his power and gets around him with very deft moves. And before he knows it, he knocks him right at the place which is weakest for him, and he just falls flat. And in one knock, Chanura falls thud on the ground and dead. So, looking at this, everyone is greatly overjoyed, and there is great noise made by the crowd, and thus Chanura is killed. There is a famous verse that many know of, and that refers to this. So it's attributed to Shankaracharya, where he says, Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardanam. So that is this Chanura. So this Chanura is first killed, then Kamsa was killed. That's why he says, Kamsa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So here Chanura is killed in this way. And meanwhile, the other wrestler Mushtika, as we know, was confronting Balaram. And Balaram, the name itself means Bala, strength. He had no chance against Balaram. Balaram simply effortlessly disposed Mushtika off, and Mushtika was killed too. When all this happens, Kamsa is there watching from his royal seat, the place from where he is seeing this live as well in the same amphitheater. He was expecting Krishna to be killed by them, but it didn't happen. And not only that, he sees the entire crowd turning in favor of Krishna. So he is suddenly very worried. He gets up and he starts barking orders that arrest this Vasudeva and Devaki, because as we know, he had released them after the eighth child was born. So he ordered now, he realizes that he is not able to go according to his plans. So he says, arrest Vasudeva and Devaki. And then he says, arrest everyone here who is supporting them. And he starts barking such orders. And as he is doing this, suddenly it is said that Krishna jumps on top of the dais. So he is on an elevated platform as the king watching the proceedings. And before he realizes it, Krishna jumps on top and comes face to face with him. So this is what Kamsa has been dreading all these years. Who is this eighth son? Where is he? How is he going to kill me? Can I somehow escape from it? So this has been the thought that's been consuming Kamsa all these years. And finally, he comes face to face with Krishna. And when he comes face to face, he is filled with terror. He knows he is seeing his very end. And Krishna takes him, drags him, and pushes him down from the dais onto the ground. He falls from the highly elevated platform onto the ground of the wrestling match. And then there he knocks him, and very effortlessly, with a few knocks, Kamsa is instantly killed right there. And it is said that Kamsa, who was having the great blessing of not only having thought of Krishna all these years in terror, but now seeing Krishna face to face as he dies, he was also liberated. So this is the glory of all the demons we've seen, from Putana to Trinavrata to all the demons. They were all not only killed but liberated by Krishna. Here it is said that Kamsa also was liberated by Krishna because of just giving his darshan while Kamsa was slain. And thus Kamsa Vadam happens, and then everyone celebrates. And Ugrasena, the father of Kamsa, who is a very pious person, he is restored as the king of Mathura, and Krishna and Balaram rule in the name of Ugrasena, Mathura, and the rule of Mathura is established. And then immediately after that, Vasudeva and Devaki approach Krishna, and they are very happy to see their son. For the first time, as we know, Krishna and Balaram are with Vasudeva and Devaki, and they have not had the joy of paternal affection that Yashoda and Nanda had. So when they approach Krishna, it is said that because they have seen Krishna in this most opulent manner, they have seen Krishna come and kill all these huge wrestlers, and then the king Kamsa himself. Because of that, Vasudeva and Devaki, they are not able to have the same kind of paternal love, but they are filled with awe and respect for Krishna. So when Krishna approaches them right after the killing of Kamsa and offers his respects and says, "You are our parents and we have been away from you," they hesitate to hug him, but they offer their obeisances to him. So then it is said that Krishna realizes this, and then using his Yoga Maya, as he has done with Yashoda too, he makes Vasudeva and Devaki again feel purely as parents and not filled with reverence for Krishna, so that they can also taste the Vatsalya Rasa, the love of being a parent. So as we can recall, Yashoda and Nanda, especially Yashoda, was never looking at Krishna as the divine being. Even when given all the various visions, she would instantly forget it, and then she would only see him as a little child, chastise him, punish him, feed him, do all the things a mother does, and in this way, having such intense maternal love for Krishna. Here, in order to bestow the same, at least for some time, to Devaki and Vasudeva, Krishna does the same by removing from their memory this sense of reverence. so that they can again see him as their own child. So in Gita 2, Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. He says, I give both memory and forgetfulness. So sometimes memory is a blessing, sometimes forgetfulness is a blessing. So in this case, for Vasudeva and Devaki, forgetting that he is so awe-inspiring was the blessing, because then they can deal with Krishna as a little child, as their own son, even though he is now grown. So they instantly become very loving and they take Krishna and Balaram, hug them and express their maternal love. And Krishna also tells them that we are very sorry that we have been away from you all these years. We had to be in Vrindavan as ordained, and now only we could come here. And now we are happy to take care of you, because it is so important to take care of one's parents. Krishna says a beautiful verse. He says, the one who does not take care of their parents and elders and one's pious wife, children, one's guru, and the ones who are surrendered to him, he is as good as a corpse. It's a very important instruction. He says, Mataram, Pitaram, Vriddham, Bharyam, Sadhvim, Sutam, Shishum, Gurum, Vipram, Prapannam, Cha Kalpo, Abhabricha Vasan, Mritaha. He says Mritaha means he is as good as dead if he doesn't take care of his parents. Mataram, Pitaram, mother and father, his pious wife Sadhvim, Bharyam, Shishum, his son or kids, Guru, Vipra, that is the wise ones, and anyone who surrenders unto him. So this is the way of Dharma. Is anyone who comes to us has to be taken care. Guru, son, pious wife, and mother and father, they have to be always protected. And if he says if one doesn't do that, then one is as good as dead. So therefore he says it is our duty to take care of you from now onwards. And as we know, Krishna will always be, he has given the joy of being with Nanda and Yashoda all these years. Going forward, he'll be with Vasudeva and Devaki. And then Vasudeva and Devaki then do the second initiation, it is said, that is the Yajnopavitam for Krishna and Balaram. And then they are sent to a Gurukula of Sandipani. Sandipani is a great teacher who lives in present day Ujjain. He sends them there. Kashayam Sandipanim Nama Hi Avanti Puravasinam. Avanti is the name for Ujjain, and in this city of Ujjain, which is even now, there is a place where it is said Sandipani Ashram was there. And so in this place of Sandipani Ashram, Krishna and Balaram are sent for 64 days. And in just 64 days, they study all the 64 arts. And this is where they also meet with the young Brahmana student called Kuchela, who will come much later. We'll see the beautiful story of Kuchela. He is a student along with Krishna and Balaram that they meet in the Gurukula of Sandipani. They study in Sandipani Gurukula. They finish their education there. They come back to Mathura and they continue the reign of Mathura in the dharmic way.